Hello, welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, Classics / Non-Classics. Our review stuff from Marvel and DC. Okay, this is episode number 63, and I believe this is my 97th, 98th video. I'll check it for sure. Okay, in this review, it's X-Men Legacy-Necrosha, where it contains X-Men Legacy 231, 234, and material from X-Necrosha, written by Mike Carey. Yeah, and the story is the foretelling from X-Necrosha number 1, and it is written by Mike Carey. Yes. Now, simply, this book, well, the first is just a story from X-Necrosha of simply Selene talking to Destiny. This whole point of this story is to set up the X-Men Legacy tie-in to Necrosha. The artwork is okay at best. I mean, it's interesting. You're going to see Destiny come back from the dead. And of course, you see a few members of Selene's circle. Someone named Sakaya. I'm not really familiar with some of these other characters part of her inner circle. And by the way, just a note, this is the way she dresses. Like most female members of the Hellfire Club, she dresses like she basically is half naked. And there is a panel in here that has her death from the 90s, where she's killed by Legion. And by the way, Legion is very much alive at this point. Now, pretty much, now Sakai, he does basically talk about, now of course the story kind of does set up basically what happens in X-Men Legacy, though. Yes. Of course, Destiny tries to contact Rogue. She contacts in Blindfold, though basically how she gets contact with somebody else. Yes. Of course, Warpath somehow breaks in. Yeah, this is during events in Necrosha when a whole bunch of zombies are attacking Utopia. Now, in the first part tie-in, you got Cyclops, Colossus, and all these other people still attacking the zombies. It doesn't say exactly who these people are. Basically, there's some reason that they have to go to Muir Island. Muir Island this time has been abandoned for years, ever since the storyline Dream's End, where in that story it concluded that the the Legacy Virus storyline. Basically, in that storyline, Mira McTaggart was killed by Mystique when she was shot in the head. Okay? And of course, talking with some guy, and Blindfold makes it clear they have to go to Muir Island, and she, along with Team X-Men, which basically is Nightcrawler, who is alive this time. This is before he actually died. Nightcrawler, Colossus, Magneto, Psylocke, Blindfold, yes, Blindfold obviously, Trace, Rogue, and Husk, the sister of Cannonball, who is no longer a member of the X-Men currently. Yeah, they head to Utopia. The artwork is really good. Yeah, here's the artwork for this. Yeah, of course, Blindfold doesn't have any eyes, but she can still see somewhat. Of course, there is a tie-in to what happens in X-Force. This part right here, where you see Warpath being dragged into Selene's throne room. That basically is continued in X-Force number 22. Yes. Yeah. And of course, and it turns out the reason why they came here is to stop one person. Proteus, the son of Mara McTaggart. Yeah. He doesn't exactly show his full appearance until like the end of the story because he's possessing people. Yeah. He is possessing people throughout this whole story. Except for one person. I believe Magneto was the only person he does not possess in this entire story. I mean, the story is actually called Earth, Give Up Your Dead. It's a 3-part story in here. Yes. Which is basically just, it ends probably in the following issue. But it's actually a really, really good story. I mean, it's the turn of Proteus, one of the X-Men's most darkest villains. And he's a Chris Claremont, John Byrne villain. Remember those two guys. Yeah, they created Proteus. Let's see if I can give you the picture. And they actually do show him toward the end of what he actually does look like. Let's see. Here he is. This is what Proteus kind of looks like in the actual story. Yes. Earth Give You Dead, Part 3 of 3. Of course, Rogue pretty much frees everybody from possessing Proteus possessing people. Now, they finally do show what he does look like in the actual book. This is what he looks like. This little blob right here. That's Proteus. And what does Magneto do? He just obliterates him and sends his remains to space. And of course, in the end, they end the story with Destiny, who is basically the focal point of the story. She meets with Rogue. She's very happy to see her. And and here's the thing: unlike Rogue's relationship with her mother, with her adopted mother, Mystique, it's not rocky with Destiny. They're actually on very good terms with each other, unlike with Mystique. And then, of course, this is something kind of expected. It's actually revealed, according to Destiny, Destiny is actually Blindfold's great-grandmother. Now, she probably thought that when she first saw Destiny, she probably thought she saw her mother. Her mother is still very much dead, but she reveals that Blindfold has a brother. But that won't come into effect until the page of X-Men Legacy Volume 2. And of course, in the following story, which is a standalone story called The Tattletale Heart, simply this guy, I'm not sure who he is, it's just like, there's a whole bunch of clock things everywhere. And of course, you have the Silver Cuckoo acting usual. The usual stance. Basically, it's just Rogue, reading people's minds, basically how it is being a telepath. And of course, shows her cleavage. Nothing unusual. First, she makes out, there's a flashback of her and Gambit's relationship over the years. Now, they don't actually kiss each other in the issue. Nope. She does not make out with him at all. She does, however, make out with Magneto. I think that the reason why, now later on in the series, Mike Carey puts Rogue and Magneto in a relationship, mainly because he's probably a big fan of Age of Apocalypse, so he decided to make it into the actual story. Here's the thing. Magneto is much older than Rogue. Rogue, I think, is probably in her late 20s, maybe early 30s. I'm guessing at this. Magneto is described possibly in his late 60s, early 70s, but he doesn't look it. There's a reason for that. That's because back in the 70s, he was turned into a child, and then he was aged. And then when he was restored to an adult, he looks like a guy probably in his, I'd say, late 30s, early 20s, despite the fact he has 3 grandchildren and 2 fully grown children. Of course, his granddaughter is in outer space with his ex-daughter-in-law's new husband, who is longtime Fantastic Four foe, Rhodey the Accuser. That's right. It's just simply 234 is simply just a standalone story. It's actually really good. Now, I think that the series got better once Xavier was not the focal character of this particular series at this point. Once it switched to Rogue, it got a lot more interesting. Now, basically, unlike the Xavier ones, I gave them basically the first 2 ones, I gave them like 3 out of 5, of course the last one I gave 4 out of 5. This one, to be fair, the artwork is really good. The story is interesting, keeps me focused, unlike M-Plate. M-Plate was an okay story at best. This story was a lot better, especially for X-Men Legacy. So I give this story a 5 out of 5. This is a really, really good story, especially the crossover stuff in the Necrosha. So, it's not boring. It's actually interesting. It actually keeps you entertained at the entire thing. This is why when people think of Mike Carey nowadays, I think of him as a boring X-Men writer. I thought he was a really interesting X-Men writer. This was now, to be fair, here's interesting about my relationship with this particular series. This is my second regular X-Men group title I started picking up after Uncanny X-Men. Okay? Now, I have no idea when we'll do reviewing my next episode, episode 64. Okay? Basically, I have nothing else to talk about this dang thing. The artwork is good, story is good, writing is good. Pick it up. Okay? Though it's like $16, but it's worth the money. It's paperback, not hardcover. So you can probably find this on Amazon now, or maybe some comic store probably has this book. Probably in a $5. Well, probably a five. I probably don't think a $5 bin because this story came out in 2009 to 2010. Yeah, late 2009 to 2010. So it probably would not be in a $5 bin. It's probably still on some shelf someplace. But you can probably find this. This is not that hard to find. This particular book. Shouldn't be that hard. Okay? Alright? See you all in my next video. Depends what I do next. Alright? See you in my next video. Bye.